The hallway fell silent when it happened. A group of boys leaned against the lockers, laughing too loud, their voices bouncing off the walls of the nearly empty school corridor. They had spotted her, Lina, the quiet girl with her head always bent down, books hugged to her chest as if they were a shield. She was small, delicate-looking, the kind of person people underestimated because she rarely spoke. But that day, the boys crossed a line. One of them reached out, snickering, making a crude comment as he tried to touch her in a way that should never be touched. They thought she would cry, run away, or stay silent like she always did. What they didn't know was who she truly was, and what she carried inside. Lina froze for only a moment, her heart pounding. The fear was real, so real it made her fingers tremble, but something else rose inside her. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was fury, years of silence, years of people thinking they could treat her however they wanted. She grabbed the boy's wrist with a grip so firm it startled him, her eyes blazing with a fire none of them had ever seen before. "Don't you dare," she said, her voice sharp, cutting through the air like glass breaking. The corridor went even quieter. The laughter stopped. What those bullies didn't realize was that Lina wasn't just any quiet girl. She was the daughter of a woman who had survived far worse, a woman who had raised her to fight with dignity, to never bow her head to injustice. Lina had trained in self-defense for years, not because she wanted to fight but because her mother had taught her that the world could be cruel, and that she had to be strong enough to stand against it. And in that moment, strength took over fear. With one swift move, she twisted the boy's arm, forcing him to stumble back. His friends blinked, unsure whether to laugh, step forward, or retreat. But Lina didn't stop there. She straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, and spoke loudly enough for the entire hallway to hear. "You think you're strong because you gang up on girls? You think you're men because you harass people? You're not strong, you're pathetic." The words hit harder than the physical push. Students who had been pretending not to watch were now staring openly, their eyes wide, whispers starting to spread. The bullies, suddenly exposed, didn't look powerful anymore. They looked small. Yet the challenge didn't end in that hallway. Lina walked away with her dignity intact, but rumors followed. Some people praised her bravery, others mocked her for overreacting, and the bullies tried to spin the story, saying she had attacked them first. It was exhausting, fighting not just the incident, but the weight of judgment that came after. There were days Lina cried into her pillow, wondering if speaking out had been worth it. But then she would remember the faces of the younger girls who had watched her that day, the awe, the hope in their eyes. She realized she hadn't just defended herself, she had given others permission to believe they could too. Her biggest challenge came when the school administration tried to dismiss the situation as kids being kids. Lina's mother stood beside her, fierce and unyielding, as they demanded accountability. It wasn't easy, letters, meetings, standing in rooms full of adults who wanted to silence her, but Lina refused to back down. And slowly, the tide shifted. The boys were disciplined, awareness programs were introduced, and conversations about respect and consent became louder in the school halls. By the time graduation arrived, Lina wasn't just the quiet girl anymore. She had become a symbol, not because she was fearless, but because she had faced fear and refused to be broken by it. She walked across the stage with her head high, hearing cheers from students who once hadn't even known her name. And as she looked out at the crowd, she thought about that moment in the hallway, the moment everything could have gone differently if she had stayed silent. Instead, she had chosen to stand, to fight, and to speak. And her message was clear, not just to the bullies but to everyone who had ever been afraid: you are stronger than they think, and your voice has power.